Who was Blessed Basil Moreau? I want to share just two snippets of his life to get a glimpse of what was near and dear to the heart of the founder of the Congregation of Holy Cross. After the Holy Cross was already founded and we had sent religious to various continents from our home base, our mother house in France, some of them were dying from things like cholera and disease. And so the question came, do we continue to send religious to these places where they're in harm's way? And so with the leading of the superiors of the congregation and Basil Moreau as superior general at the time, the question was put to him, and he took a weighty pause, he bowed his head, he put it on the table, and he prayed. And after a time he lifted his head and he said, God has done too much for the congregation not to bring his work to completion. And he sent more religious to the places where they were dying. Many have debated the prudence and the wisdom of this choice, but what's undebatable is Basil Moreau's deep belief in divine providence. That God will bring about God's work in our lives if only we are docile to him. Another thing that's undeniable is Basil Moreau's zeal. He defines zeal as the burning desire to make God known, loved, and served, and thus to save souls. And how did Basil Moreau go about helping people know, love, and serve God? 3 ways. First, through the missions we talked about, of sending people across the globe to the places where the gospel wasn't heard. Second, in parishes, especially country parishes, places that didn't have a priest very often and didn't receive the sacraments often enough. So he formed a group of priests to go to these areas where people didn't have access to the sacraments. And third, through education. At that time in France, the education system was decimated. And he said, this is a vitally important way for people to encounter the gospel. We need to get into the schools to form their minds and their hearts, to form citizens of earth and of heaven. The second snippet I want to share comes from one of the darkest moments of Basil Moreau's life, when his entire life's work seemed to be in shambles and he was worried that all of his work of founding Holy Cross was going to amount to nothing. He was praying in the chapel, and he got out of his pew, and he walked past the altar, and he knocked on the door of the tabernacle. One of my favorite lines from Blessed Basil Moreau is, Christ is the prisoner of the tabernacle. Meaning he doesn't want to be shut up in a little box away from the world. He wants us to receive him so deeply into our hearts that when we go out into the world, Christ goes with us. That our love is a living copy of Christ's love. That we can say, it's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And Basil Moreau knew that in his darkest hour, Jesus was the place to turn. The cross of Christ is the place to turn for hope. And so he bequeathed to our congregation the motto, Ave Cru Spes Unica. Hail the cross, our only hope. I hope this gives you a little bit of a better sense of who the founder of Holy Cross was. There's so much more to learn about him, and his writings are so rich. I hope this is only the beginning of your relationship with Blessed Basil Moreau.